like we're on.
We are live. Oh, it's good. Don't you love it when technology works?
That's fabulous.
How are you, Kylie?
I'm
Ready
fabulous,
for our lunch
thank
and
you.
learn?
Very fabulous.
Excellent.
I'm just trying to see us on our little page. Sometimes it doesn't come up straight away.
I've got us up there, so
Beautiful.
all good. Yes. So
I like to be able to see the comments as they come through.
yes, and we've got
Oh,
a few minutes.
beautiful.
So here we go. So this is good because there is a little bit of a time delay.
Yeah.
With StreamYard going into Facebook, which is straight onto our Connect Her page. So welcome everybody. If you're just joining us, Lee Cummins here with Connect Her. I just had a moment then where I was going to say on Coffee Chat, which was my radio show that I ran for 10 years. So I just had a bit of a blast from the past then. But no, not Coffee Chat. It's Connect Her Lunch and Learn. And we get started in about 1 or 2 minutes. So hello, we have got Shoreditch, which is Rebecca Hawes. How are you, Rebecca? Lovely to see you. Please do pop your comments down, say hi, and let us know that you're with us. We are going to get started pretty quickly today because Kylie has jumped on quickly for us. She's actually got a meeting to go to straight after this, so we're going to zoom through a whole lot of stuff. But first of all, I do want to welcome everybody along. Please do pop your comments into the comment section and we will get to them throughout the course of the process. So today's episode of Lunch and Learn is also part of our podcast. And I have the pleasure of having on our show Kylie Bonnor. Now, Kylie is with Major Breakthroughs, and Kylie is also a defence wife, a leader of our Connect Her leaders, and she is going to be sharing some amazing information with us today. Really looking forward to it, because do you find that there's days that things go super well and you're just on a cloud, and other days where, you know, your hair doesn't go well, you feel like crap, everything goes wrong? Well, Kylie's here to explain why. So welcome, Kylie.
Thank you. Thanks, Lee. Thanks for having me. And we talked about this before, and then we talked about it a while ago as well, and then suddenly it was here. So
yeah,
I am very excited. This is totally my passion, of talking to women about how life all incorporates into stuff. So the stuff we do, and our passions and our work and our culture and our society and our family and things like that. So very excited to share.
and I'm really glad that you're getting to share it with our community, the Connect Her community, because we are obviously, being Connect Her, predominantly women that make up our Facebook page and also our groups. So I think we've got a few men here and there that pop in and like what we do. But I think this is really important, what you're about to share today, because there are times that you can think, today's not going to be my best day, so I'm better off to, you know, huddle or have that day in bed with, you know, with Netflix and a box of tissues or things like that. So I'm looking forward to you sharing with us today. Now, I just do want to say that if you are in the replay and you do have any questions that come along, please do pop them in the comment section, because Kylie will go back afterwards and go through the comments and assist you as well. So with any of those questions. Now, I believe you've got a presentation for us that we can share.
I do. I'll pop it up. So the only thing about the presentation that I sort of didn't really consider was the podcast, but we might be able to put it as a link with the podcast so people can download it. I'm not very tech savvy, but I'll figure that out, because I'm sure there's a way of doing that.
We can sort that one out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully this is just like magically going to appear on the screen.
And it's about to magically appear because technology is doing well. Yes.
Not changing for me. Can you see that?
We can see it. Oh, very good. Excellent. Excellent.
So I've tried to condense what I normally do in 2 or 4 hours or 4-week programs into really succinct info for you so that we can smash through it today. But this really is a very small taster. So, but I thought I'd start off. My ambition in life is to empower others to share little known facts of wonder that educate and inspire. Because that will ultimately be the thing that changes all the narratives in our society. So the things like we live in a very patriarchal society, as much as we want to not be doing that. And the feminists, I guess, movement has been doing for the last 50-ish, so 70 years-ish, I guess 100 and so on years, has been working to change that narrative. But it's such a slow process of change, and we need to start at the very bottom and work our way up, and then the ripple effects are out. And so for women, we have children and we have families, we have friends, and our ripples go a lot further, I find, than a lot of other people. So I'm going to start today by a little known fact that, did you know, something that frustrates me completely is how it has been shown to us that women's ovaries are at the end of the fallopian tubes. So in textbooks, most people will, in their brains, imagine the picture of the uterus with the fallopian tubes with the 2 ovaries at the end, and that's actually not what it's like at all. So if I won't read through that, but I will let you know that the next slide has the traditional picture with the image of the ovaries at the end of the fallopian tubes with the uterus, the cervix, so on. But the following slide is what it actually looks like. So you can see the ovary actually comes off the uterus separately to the fallopian tube. And you can see those little tiny tentacles almost, or finger-like things, that they are there designed to massage the ovary at the time of ovulation when a cyst forms and bursts out, which is how the egg is released. And they capture that egg, and then the egg goes through the process through the fallopian tubes. I call them uterine ducts, and so on. Now, honestly, I've been teaching women's cycle stuff for the last 3.5 years, and I only learnt this in the last 12 months. This is not a common known fact, and the reason I learnt it was reading a beautiful friend of mine's new book about it, called Activate Your Female Power. And she had some pictures, and inside the uterus, if you have a look at this image, just the uterus inside of that actually looks like a coral reef when it's microscopically photographed. So it's quite a beautiful place to be, yet the connotations that we've had for many years have been quite negative. Now,
we've got our own Great Barrier Reef.
We've got our own right within us, and it's as smart as a reef. It knows when things aren't feeling right, it knows when things aren't feeling good, it knows when things are feeling good, but it also does a lot more. But the ovaries actually are the thing that make women much more emotional and hormonal than men, because they have their own sex hormones. Now, males have sex hormones as well, but they have, a couple, whereas females have about 5. And our ovaries generate those sex hormones and communicate with the pituitary gland and the hypothalamus and the thyroid and the adrenals to make all those hormones come to life. And then they also talk to our brain, which is wired for the neural pathways. So, there's all those sayings about women thinking differently to men thinking differently to women. So if you look at this slide, there's a picture there of the neural pathways that have been done under a brain scan. And a male's pathways go very much straight up and down, like left side and right side. I was trying to do that for the video, but I think I mixed it up even in my own head. But the left side and the right side, they work very separately to each other. Women have a lot more connectivity between the right and the left side, which is why there's more orange lines as opposed to blue lines backwards and forwards. And what that's doing is each of those neural pathways connect to each other that also connect to the hormones. And so when a hormone or an emotion is activated, things will be much more sensitive, like things at certain times of the month, if a hormone is much higher predominantly than at other times of the month, then those pathways are going to light up and therefore be more strong
and more active, probably. Yeah.
As we go along. So it's as simple as things like the beauty of the different stages of the month that can affect, like you could watch a movie today, and for you, if you're in a time of your month that is much more predominantly estrogen based versus progesterone based, you will react completely differently to that movie. Like it could be a tearjerker at some times of the month, and at other times of the month you'd be like, yeah, whatever, it's fine, whatever, you can cope. So leading on from the beautiful session last week with Ildi and the networking planners and stuff, it's really, really important that women in business and just women in general know this information, but especially in business, because it's proven that in certain times of the month there's a dollar figure ratio percentage that's much higher than at other times of the month. And I'm happy to get that information to you later on. But if I could change my profits by working a certain week of the month versus the other week of the month, I'm pretty sure most people in business would see that that is a savvy idea. But if they don't know, then they can't maximize. So I'm going to start with in our cycle, the easiest place to start is at menstruation. Now, please know that I am very aware that not all women have a cycle that is period based. So every single woman from the day they are born to the day they die, if they are born with a uterus, will have a particular cycle, but it will not necessarily be as easy to notice unless as it is when you've got your during your menstruation period of your life. So during your time of the month that you are bleeding, it is very important to rest and reflect and set goals and set your intentions and journal, and those times of the month you're much more in tune with your alignment, your heart space and your brain space that is about the directions that you want to go. So, and journaling often will come out with intuitive hits. You'll get insights that you wouldn't actually notice at other times of the month. Just it's a bit more melancholy, I suppose. It's a really good time to evaluate your goal progress and make corrections in your course towards your goals, but it's really important to just either rest, listen to your body. So gentle yoga, yin yoga more style than, don't be going and doing your Bikram. No one needs that during this time of the month.
No.
And then we come into follicular stage, which is while the body is trying to prepare the egg for ovulation. So, I like to incorporate with spring because it really is that time of new energy. Things are just waking up, and it's still a time for inner sort of reflection and to take care of yourself. But you are much more energetic, and you can really tap into some of those things that, like having a conversation with someone will be a bit more deep and connected at this point of the month because you will feel like caring. Whereas last week you probably didn't feel like caring.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's all about me, not about you this week. And then
so now we're coming into
it's more about you than it is about me.
Yeah, so this is a really good time I'm very careful with the networking events here, but this is a really good time for coffee dates, more one-on-one, because networking events, they are much more, but this week and next week, as in if we move into summer, they're the things, that's the time of the month that you are looking better, your hair's more beautiful, your skin is beautiful and glowing, your in actual fact your boobs are more perky and attractive than
even for us old girls.
Even for us old girls, even when you have to roll up. So you're much more attractive to the opposite sex, but you're also more engaging and magnetic to other people, because you have this energy that is for others. It is the time of the month that you can really connect and tap into, that outward being that is so beautiful about women, that we can do that. This is the time of the month to get out and do stuff and be with other people and spend time connecting. Or for business, do your presentations, do your sales pitches. This is the time of the month that this is where all the money is. This is your money week. During ovulation, that time of the month is like boom time. And it does affect people's response to you unconsciously, because you do look better and you feel better. And, people sometimes will just say to you, oh my God, you look amazing. You'll be like, I don't know why. Like, it's because it's normally around that time of the month and you'll feel good. And yeah, I can't really.
And it's also, you know how there's some people that no matter what, they walk in a room and they turn a head, or they've just got that magnetism. That's when we have that opportunity. If you're not normally the person that turns a head, that's the week.
So I mean, a couple of other little known facts about this time of the month is that I think it's like I should have checked that statistic, but like 80% of women who will have an affair, it'll be this week of the month that'll have an affair. So just in case you're wondering.
It wasn't something I'd sort of thought of, but
to make babies. That's what it's there for. Like your body is designed to make babies, and even if you don't want to make a baby, that's the time that it's going to let you do that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. I was being silly.
Oh, I missed it.
Throwing in some humour.
So then we come back into autumn. So like you can see, it's just the 4 seasons of life, but it comes into sort of, it's roughly weekly. Sometimes it's not weekly. Like for me, I have about 4 days actually of ovulation and spring, summer. So if I hit those days, it's great. If I don't, it doesn't really mean anything yet on the surface, because I still do it. I still can go out there. I can still be magnetic. I can still attract people. I can still make sales. It's not going to stop you from doing that, but I'll explain a bit more further in a minute. So coming into autumn, this is where your body's preparing. It's already ovulated. It's preparing to have another period, or of course you'd be implanting and you'd have a pregnancy begin. At this point, this is the time that you are a little bit more ruthless. So it's a really good time to finish any projects, declutter, prioritize on detail-oriented tasks. You are super focused at this time of the month. It's the time of the month that you will want to rip your husband's head off because he is being an idiot. Maybe not. It might just be you. So it's a really good time not to start a fight, but it's a really good time to take notice of the times that you want to start a fight and then work on that so that you can deal with it in 3 weeks' time when you get back to ovulation and you're magnetic and you get what you want. So your tolerance is at an all-time low. Your filters are there that you can see if someone's bullshitting you. It's just all there. But it's the time of the month that you need to give yourself compassion, feel the feels, give yourself space for self-care, schedule the self-care, do the batch cooking so you're organised the next month, do the housekeeping around your business. That's the time to plan, see what's working in your life and then get rid of it if it's not. So could kind of look back to the first week where you were focusing on your goals and setting your intentions, and then focus on, actually, is that what I want to do or is it not?
And it's all that sort of preparation work, isn't it?
Yeah. So that next week when you want to just be able to relax, you can just relax and chill out and take care of yourself. So, and another way of looking at it is like the different stages of your life as an infant. Like, you're really interested and that's where you're actually having your period, but you're starting out and it's like a new beginning. And then as a teenager is where you are ovulating. So the higher estrogen is making more energetic and like you're out there and you're vibrant, and then you come off your estrogen, your progesterone, because around after you've ovulated and preparing for coming back into that time of your month. So I guess that's a kind of an overview of how to look at it. But if you don't have a cycle, it doesn't make it not important, because as I said at the start, from the day you're born to the day you die, if you're born with a uterus, you have a cycle, and without knowing it, you cannot tap into the superpower, because if you're living understanding this stuff and you can live roughly in flow with it, you're much life is just easier. It's so much easier just to understand. Like, and you won't pick that fight in that time of the month, because you'll be like, hang on a minute, this may not be a fight that I actually need to have. Or you'll know that if you have a massive pitch or launch that you want to do for your work, then to put it in that month, you're going to get much more receptive responses. So if you don't have a cycle, though, you can track with the moon. And I mean, this is just a rough moon guide, that the full moon is when you're on your period. The new moon, is that the wrong way around? Anyway, I might have done this the wrong way around, but you have to track. I should have had a picture of my cycle tracker that I actually use. But if you track with the moon, then you start to see your own patterns, because evolution has occurred, and we live in a world that we don't necessarily, like if we've taken the pill, our cycle would change and things like that. So tracking with the moon will assist your understanding of yourself, so you know what your patterns are, and you'll know which weeks or which days, and you might see after a couple of months, but about 3 months into it, you'll see the cycle and how it plays out for you. So that's basically it. So
and there's also you can get trackers as well, apps that you can put on your phone, which is I don't know what ones they are, but there's different trackers that you can use, that if you do want to take your business to that next level, pop your cycle into a tracker, take on board what Kylie's saying, and then if you're in the corporate world, you can't necessarily go, well, I don't want to do this big presentation this week because it's not my cycle, but you can be prepared for it. And, there are times where you can go, well, I'm going to move it to another week. But because we are business owners, we've got a bit more flexibility.
Yeah. And about that, like, because not always, even as a business owner, you don't always have the control over when you can and when you can't have different things.
Yeah.
So, which I guess Connect Her is quite a good example of that, because I run 3 different meetings. They're always on a Thursday, because that's easy for me to deal with. But that's a good day around the kids. But, 1 week a month is not my best week. The thing about it is, and the thing about knowing, is that the difference in me, if it's not a good week of the month for that, I will have naps leading up to it, or I can just prepare for it, so that I'll just have everything else that week will be much more relaxed, so that I can just focus on that, and that's the focus that I have. And in that way, that's how I can preserve that energy, because before I knew any of this stuff, I didn't understand how much it affects us. But if we push through the cycles, if we were to try and push through and do a big launch during our period, we end up being much more in that part of the cycle. We end up being more burnt out the next week, and then we feel guilty, and then the head chatter comes in, which is my other baby. And that's why I'm so passionate about how it all connects, because if you don't push through, you don't end up burnt out, you don't end up feeling like you're not good enough, you don't, like, all that other stuff that joins up with the head chatter and the neural pathways doesn't come into play, and then we can be our best selves, and we can feel like we're succeeding, because we're not trying to do things when we're not designed to be doing them. Like, if you think about, originally we were designed to be living in a cave and being fed grapes when we were pregnant, like, because we had to continue life. That was kind of our thing. It's not, it wasn't the go, go, go. And that is such a masculine version of business and life these days, that we always have to aspire to be better and do better and strive and push. But we've lost this knowledge in who we are and how good that is. It's become quite a terrible thing. Like, people feel very bad about having their periods, or there's not very many. It's very rare you'll find a woman who's proud of having a period or not grossed out by it, or and if they are, they're very few and far between. When actually it was designed to be. I mean, it's about giving life, but it comes from, that's where we all came from. So understanding it's really key to women in business and their success.
Absolutely. And also too, Kylie, we are pushed so much now to be on all the time. Like, you've got, and even more so, and probably the ladies that are watching from Melbourne, we are more on at the moment because everything is through Zoom or, online. And trying to keep the business afloat, trying to keep income flowing in, you probably don't look at the things that you've spoken about today. You've thought, I've got to keep going because I've got to get through this next step and this next step and this next step. And I know for me, I've been just working full on since lockdown, haven't stopped, and just, running fast, where yes, maybe I do need to take some time out at certain periods of time to reflect and to nurture and to go, well, this isn't probably the best decision that I've made because I haven't.
But also, it's so alleviating on that head chatter. Like, when you're working so hard and you're working towards goals and you're trying to do everything and be there and do everything, and especially if you've got kids working from home, schooling from home and things.
I don't have that.
I know you don't, but like anyone who does, the mind chatter of trying to maintain all the balls in the air is such. It's just such a it's such a negative thing in our lives, even though it might be okay and you might be dealing with it and you might be coping. If you schedule that one day a month to have the day off and you do it intentionally, then you don't feel guilt about it. So, and then you don't feel like you're pushing all through and you've got something to look forward to. And it's so in tune with all the things that we need. Like last week's Ant Planner discussion was very much like the vision board and things like that. That those creative outlets that we have, that at the time sometimes they seem a bit silly, like they're not really that important, but I'll just get it done because, well, I'll just get it done because I have to or whatever. But actually, if you can then that creativity wise in our women's brain is wired differently, and that inspires something else, and then we work in flow, and then our business is so much more valuable and we can be more passionate, and we're not getting burnt out. We're not feeling guilty if we have a day off, if we have to deal with the kids, if the kids are sick, because everything's kind of planned in an overview, and we know that actually 1 week of the month we're going to get a lot more done because we'll have a lot more energy than that week of the month that we can't focus and our brain's not switched on, and we just need to be able to do the process that week.
And this is where also, if you've got the app that you know how your cycle is, that you can use your planner to plan out, well, this is a better week for me to go to a networking event. This is a better time for me to work on my business. This is a better time for me to write that blog or to do a proposal or a presentation. That you can actually structure your week more effectively for your business. And look, I swear by my planner. It's always on my desk or with me. And I actually do block in those times of what I want to do when. But if you've got that, you're looking at your cycle as well, it's a way of really bringing it into front of mind.
Supercharging. And the apps are great. I find women's brains are better writing things down or colouring in, mindfulness colouring in, and you can incorporate those things. But the apps are really good at showing you, but I mean, it's as simple as sometimes just writing at the top of the diary how you feel, what you're looking at. You know, did you go to the toilet today? Did you sleep well last night? How's your face looking? And all that in the end comes into a bigger picture. But I mean, you can start with just the one thing, which is your cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think you've shared some really amazing things with us today. So I'm going to just put up that if you would like to get in contact with Kylie and follow some more information on this, Reignite the Fire Within is your Facebook group, and you do a lot of work around
page, actually.
A page, is it?
Yeah. But that's okay. Right. That's
it can connect you in.
It'll connect them in, yeah.
Oh, good. I thought I was doing really well getting it to the right spot.
It's exactly right, though, so it's good.
Oh, good. Oh, that's good. I did something right today. So, I will say definitely go and like that page. I think you've got a group as well.
Yeah, which is majorbreakthroughs.com.
Right. Major Breakthroughs, which is a group. And is it linked to that page? So people can get to it.
It should be, but, you know, maybe. Yeah. It'll be there somewhere.
Yeah. But the other great way that you can connect with Kylie is through our website as well. So you run the Defence Divas as well as our Perth online and also Rockingham, which is face-to-face. And we're extremely jealous of, by the way, because you've got face-to-face events.
Yes, I do. We've got our Rockingham's this week, actually, this Thursday morning, and then Defence Divas is the following week, and then Perth Online is the following week after that. We have had some interest, actually, probably a good time to mention it, is we had some interest from the north side. There was a few, they were quite spread out suburbs on the north side, but if you are north of the river in Perth, it's probably a great time to get in touch, because I'm happy to start reaching out over there, because there is another week of the month that, you know, it's empty at the moment. But it's but yeah, so I guess just finding the most central spot to start with. But if they want to jump onto the Perth Online, that's great too.
Fantastic. So definitely head over to the Facebook page for Kylie, which is Reignite the Fire Within, and you share a lot of this information on there that we've covered today. I want to thank you so much for your presentation, and you came with not a lot of notice, so I do appreciate that as well, which is just fantastic. So don't forget too that we will start doing some shout outs for your website. So if you've been on, you can just pop your website or your Facebook page into the comments, and we'll pop those up for you. We also have connecther.com.au. You can check out those under our free training, which is a website tab that we have on our website, which says free training. You can go there, and all of our past lunch and learns are sitting there as well. And you can also pick up some free tickets when we are running free ticket promotions to different events and things like that. But all of our latest videos for our lunch and learns are all sitting on there on our website as well. So we've got some really good interviews on there that you can access. So let's just see if we've had any comments come through. So if you're watching, just pop your website or your Facebook page in there, and we'll pop them in. Kylie, I was just going to ask, with Reignite the Fire Within, what can people expect on there?
So I share a lot of information about trauma and the impacts of trauma and how that affects us now, and epigenetics, and how that is the link to intergenerational trauma and future healing. I share a lot about the neurology of who we are as human beings in recovery. especially around things like emotions and how they're meant for us in our life. Like, we're meant to have emotions, but we're not meant for them to pervade it and invade our life and permeate everything of our lives. So, you're not meant to have depression ongoing for 20 years of your life. You're not meant to have anxiety. If you have, there's a problem, and you need to deal with the underlying problem. And so I'll share about how that all comes together to make us perfectly who we are. Like, we are amazing. We are amazing. Like, that whole idea of the uterus and the ovary and the fallopian tube. If a woman has an ectopic pregnancy and she loses her fallopian tube, often the doctor will say, "Oh no, sorry, you can't ever have children," or something stupid like that. But our bodies know that there's a lady who's lost a fallopian tube on one side and an ovary on the other, but she still got pregnant 7 times more, or 6 times or something. She had heaps more babies, and it was all because the other fallopian tube knew to reach around and capture the egg from the other ovary. Like, our bodies are phenomenal, and when we can understand how phenomenal, we can love who we are, and then we can be better about ourselves. So that's what I passionately share all the time.
You do, and I know that you get called to share this information a lot with corporates and different businesses. So we've been very fortunate to have you share it with us today here on Connect Her. So thank you so much. I am just so conscious of the fact that you do need to head off today.
Do you want to know where I'm going?
Yes, go on, tell us.
You probably don't because you're in Melbourne. But today's my day because I'm in autumn. So I'm planning. I've planned for the last month or so because I knew I had a huge month of I had to write some submissions and proposals and things. And so today I'm having a massage before I go to the chiropractor, and a float in one of those, those tank things. I don't know if you've ever seen
the
them,
tanks, yes.
Totally my self-care day. So.
Well, you enjoy, and I'm glad that you are going to a self-care day. I think that is fabulous. We're all completely jealous over here. We're just thinking, oh, how fabulous. The closest we'd get to a float tank is, in the bath with some Epsom salts, I think.
Well, that'd still be better than nothing, though.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Kylie, thank you so much. Don't forget facebook.com/reignite the fire within. You can also connect with Kylie as well by heading over to our website, which is connecther.com.au. And I want to thank you, and I'm sure everyone that was on today and also on the replay got some great information. So much appreciated.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and we will catch up with everybody soon. And don't forget, you can check out all the information by heading to Kylie's Facebook page, Reignite the Fire Within. You go and reignite your fire within, Kylie Bonnor, with your self-care. Thanks, everyone. See you next Tuesday.